I am speaking right now live from the Belmar beach on the east coast of Mauritius. I've been here for the last 2 days with some of the sweetest, humble, committed people of Mauritius. They're really sweet, like their sugarcane in the country. Had a great time meeting and speaking to many of the Mauritian people here, and came for a morning walk with two friends. It's been extremely amazing to be in touch with this beautiful turquoise waters at Belmar Beach. And as I was just walking, I was reminded of an amazing story. One time on the shores of the ocean, a crab was walking and was watching and looking at its beautiful footprints and adoring them. And suddenly, as the crab was adoring its beautiful footprints, the waves of the ocean washed those footprints away. The crab turned towards the ocean, the waves, and said, "Hey, I thought you were my best friend. Why did you do that? Wash my footprints away." The waves of the ocean said, "A fisherman was chasing you, my dear friend, looking at your footprints. So I washed them away so the fisherman couldn't catch you." Ladies and gentlemen, many times I feel in our relationships as well, we doubt the actions of people, just like the crab doubted the action of the waves. But the intention of the waves was not to wash the footprints away, but to save the crab from the fisherman. Similarly, many times what people do to us, rather than always doubting their action, let us try and look at their intention. What they do may not be to harm us. What they do may actually be to actually help us. And here at the Belmar beach, I was remembering the story of the crab and the footprints. And I think in my personal life, I'm going to try this constantly, not to judge anyone by their actions, but to look at their intentions. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you. We have a very special guest today, an inspirational and international speaker. He's a life coach. He's also a disciple of Radhanath Swami and a senior ISKCON sannyasi. We have Mr. Gaur Gopal with us. Thank you very much for being with us in the studios of the MBC.
It's my great pleasure and honor to be with you and with all of your audience.
And straight away, I'll jump to the first question. Is it your first time in Mauritius?
My very first time in Mauritius. I've been traveling a lot, but Mauritius for the first time indeed.
I bet you've seen a lot of countries. You've met many people. Mauritius, a tiny dot on the world map. How do you end up in Mauritius?
I ended up in Mauritius because there were some members of ISKCON and some of my friends here who wanted me to come here and share the experience and knowledge and wisdom that I received from my teachers with the people here.
So you've come here for coaching and seminars and to carry out a few lectures.
That's right.
Please tell us more about.
Yes, I came here on the invitation of the members here for doing a few talks with some of the corporates, some students. After this, I go to speak to the students at the University of Mauritius. And then we have some other events with the general masses of Mauritius and some public forums as well.
You mentioned the corporate world and students.
Yes.
So is there a focus on the younger generation at the moment?
Yes, I think so. Because when we're talking about the future of the world, we're talking about the youth being in place. I always love to tell a story. A gentleman wanted to watch a football match. And he had his little one, 5-year-old, and she was kind of disturbing his watching the match. So the guy thought, what would he do to keep her quiet? So he saw a newspaper, and the entire page was filled with the map of the world. So he tore it into pieces to make it into a jigsaw puzzle and said, now put it in place, which means if she's occupied, this guy can watch the match. And as soon as he put it to her and he continued watching the match, within less than 5 minutes, she put it all in place, 5-year-old. And the father was extremely impressed. He said, hey, how did you get it in place in less than 5 minutes? She said, it's very simple, Dad. Just behind this map of the world on one side of the page was a picture of a man. She said, I put the man together and I got the world together. So I'm convinced. If you put the man together, you can put the world together, man or woman, of course. Basically, the point is, if we are going to work on people, we are going to work on the world. The quality of the world is determined by the quality of people who inhabit that world. And I see the future is from the youth.
How do you see the future going forward?
The future can only be made right and put in place if we learn how to make the right choices. We're always going to have a right and a wrong choice. We're always going to have to choose moment by moment. If we live to decide by the right values, the right ethics, the right morals, the right principles, I think the future of the world could be a much better one. But if we decide to do the contrary, well, we're creating trouble for ourselves.
And as of now, you're speaking about values, probably attitude and the approach of people. Is there a lot of work to be done in that sense?
Yes, indeed. You know, in the modern world today, you find a lot of youngsters going to gyms and working out. They're all wanting to build huge biceps and triceps and six-pack abs or eight-pack abs. What they get in the end is just a family pack. That's another thing. But they definitely want to work on their outside. You know, in the modern world, people are focusing too much on charisma, but not much on character.
How they're projected in the world?
Yes.
Yeah.
Charisma, but not as much character. They're focusing a lot on being a great personality, not so much on being a great person. So I think when we're talking about going to the gym, working out and making a personality, a figure, you know, we're also talking about the inside workout or the internal person. If you have a gym where you can go and, you know, work out to build your personality, your figure, I don't know if there's a gym where we can actually work out and make our inside stronger, better. So when we talk about values, ethics, morals, attitudes, we're talking about working out for the inside.
So this is probably where you meet gurus, you receive guidance.
Yes.
Can I venture mentioning practice meditation also?
Yes.
And of course, the spiritual aspect.
That's right.
And you do put a lot of focus on chanting.
Yes.
Why is it so important to... So basically, if I have to draw a straight line, so you have to try to have a balance with
Correct.
each and every aspect of it. Why is it so important?
Sure. Last night I was talking about the analogy of a car. When you drive a car, the car has four wheels. A rhetorical thing to say about a car has four wheels. One wheel of the car is our personal life. The second wheel of the car is our family life. The third wheel of the car is our social life, our connection with our friends and colleagues. The fourth wheel of our car is our professional life. And I think we are juggling between all four to strike a good balance. You know, loads of times we see that, you know, one of the wheels of the car is flat, you know, flat tire, which is loads of times our personal life. We just don't have time for ourselves.
All right.
Sometimes our personal life needs more attention. Sometimes our family needs more attention. At times our professional life needs more attention. At times our social life needs attention. These are all the wheels of the car. And if we want to drive smoothly towards our destination, towards our goal, where we want to reach, we need to balance between these wheels. But needless to say, even if the wheels are in place, one wheel which is very important to be held constantly is the steering wheel of the car. That steering wheel is our spiritual life. If we have our spiritual life in place, our connection with the divine, our connection with ourselves in place, we are together. It's like, you know, a carpenter is trying to cut a log of wood. If the first thing in the morning, if he hasn't sharpened his saw, he's going to take 10 hours to cut the same log of wood, which he would have otherwise done in less than an hour if he would have sharpened his saw.
You mentioned the four wheels of life and the steering wheel.
Yes.
Define spiritual connection.
Yeah. Spiritual connection, I would say, is three things. Number one, it is a connect to our own self. Loads of times we're so caught up and so busy, in the rut, just running, trying to make the ends meet, that we don't even look at our own selves. So, if we have to connect to others in the world, first thing we need to do is to connect to our own self, which is to go deeper, to introspect and go deeper. Like sometimes you have guys who surf on the waves of the ocean.
All right.
And when guys go for surfing, the waves of the ocean go high up and the guy's tossed up.
Yeah.
And when they go low deep, the guy goes along with the waves low deep. That's the fun in surfing anyways, being tossed up and down. Now, those who live a life on the surface are like surfers in life. The waves of success toss them up and they're elated, and the waves of failure pull them down and they're depressed. There's a constant up and down, a roller coaster ride, if you might allow me to say that,
Sure.
going on in life. Now, contrast that with a diver.
Okay.
A diver goes deep into the ocean. Now, when he's deep into the ocean, the waves which are on the surface do not affect the one who's gone deep within.
Surely.
Only the ones who live a life on the surface of the ocean, surfing, are the ones who are most affected by the waves. In the modern world, we live a very superficial, on the surface life, which is why all the ups and downs affect us a lot. We shouldn't be surfers in life. We can do surfing for entertainment and adventure, but in life we shouldn't be surfers. In life we should be divers. When we dive deep within to connect to ourselves, then we're like the diver. Everything that's happening on the surface of our life, the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys, the crests and troughs, will not affect us as much as they would have if we would just be surfing on the top. So that's the connect to ourselves. But then there is connect to the divine, connect to God. So one aspect of spirituality is connecting to ourselves. The other aspect of spirituality is connecting to a divine, connecting to God. It's like if I were to be in Mumbai and you were in Mauritius, Roshan, and if I were to speak to you, how would I communicate? How would I communicate to you?
A phone.
A
mobile.
phone.
Yeah.
A phone, an email. There'll be some means of communication through which I can make that connect with you.
Yes.
Now, why would I want to connect to you? I would probably know that you're an incredible gentleman. I would probably know that maybe if I speak to you, I'd get answers to my questions. I'd probably get a lot of peace by talking to you. I would only connect to someone if I have business with that person, if I have personal relationship with that person, where I get some love, some affection, some kindness, or I derive some inspiration from that person. So we're talking about making that connect with God. Now that connect with God, connect with you would be possible through a phone. That connect with him or her would be possible through meditation, chanting, which now plays the role of a phone or your computer to send an email and make that connect. So that's the second aspect of a spiritual connection to God. And the third aspect of our spiritual connection is connection to people around us. Connection to people around us. So when we connect to ourselves and we connect to God, there is a cleansing that happens within our heart, within our consciousness, because of which, just from our passions, we move to the virtue of compassion. It's not just about living a life of passion. It is directing that passion in the virtue of compassion, which is when we want to share, we want to give. Last night I was saying in this event, when someone's on a plane, the members of the cabin crew will make that announcement. If there be a lack of oxygen supply in the cabin, oxygen masks will deploy from the panel above your head. Secure them on your face and breathe normally. Make sure your mask is in place before you help
Another one.
others. If we want to help others, if we want to have a sense of contribution to others, if we want to live a life of compassionate, conscious contribution, we will first need to help ourselves. If we are not in place, we can put no one else in place. If I don't feel loved, I can't love another one. If I don't feel hope, I can't bring hope to another person. If I don't feel positive, how under the sun am I going to make anyone else positive? If I don't have the resources, I don't think I can share the resources with any individual as well. This is why the first two, the connection with ourselves and connection with God, is working on our own self. And the third aspect of our spiritual connection then is to connect to the people of this world. But when I am in place, when I receive from that connection to God, when I receive from that connection to myself, I'm in a position to share that with the world.
The compassion you have to serve humanity is one of your major drives. But
Yes.
from the three, from self and God and divine, I have a feeling that you managed to balance the three
That's right.
equally.
That's right.
How did it start for you?
I went with my parents to a gathering and someone was speaking that I heard it. That brought further more questions in my mind, which is when I started seeking, which is when I started moving around to say deeper answers, deeper questions, not just the ones on the surface which are kind of spoken in a public forum, but you kind of challenge, not to defeat, but to understand deeper. So yeah, that was step one. Step two was to start observing those people who were living by this path. The greatest disservice done by religion and religious people to the world is that they haven't represented religion rightly. The reason why people lose faith in religion and spirituality is because the guys who are meant to represent it, when you observe them, they're still engaged in politics. They're still engaged in self-aggrandizing agendas. They're still engaged in creating divides rather than harmonizing and uniting. So when you see people like these, you lose faith. Me, for myself, I think I was lucky, fortunate. I found some very genuine individuals. Of course, Srila Prabhupada, who established ISKCON, was my inspirational icon. And my guru, as you earlier mentioned, I came across him, Radhanath Maharaj, the author of the popular New York Times bestseller, Journey Home and Journey Within. He struck a chord with me. Observing him and his followers and others in ISKCON who are Prabhupada's followers, very genuine people, and many other paths as well, not just ISKCON in particular, genuine people. That made my faith deeper. It works. What was theory by hearing, observation made it deeper. But that belief wasn't blind belief, blind faith. I don't think
it came with a lot of questions.
It came with a lot of questions earlier, but that faith became much more tangible because you saw people who lived by it and were transformed. It wasn't blind. You could see these individuals. You could see their life. You could see how they conducted themselves. You could see how they were together. You could see how they were living for others. I don't think it needs rocket science there. When you see someone, that faith, which was a little bit kind of ambiguous, vague, intangible, became a little more tangible. But it still is not complete faith, I feel, which is when I took that leap in my life where I now had to start practicing that meditation, that chanting, that process, that ideology in my life. And as I started doing that, no matter what we talk about divinity, you cannot have that faith in divinity unless it's a first-hand experience.
Would you mind sharing your first-hand experience?
My first-hand experience was an experience of transformation. My first-hand experience was an experience of satisfaction. It's like when you eat food, three things happen to you when you eat food. Number one, there is satisfaction, taste. Imagine someone making a dal puri, which is very popular in Mauritius, I believe, right?
Yes.
Goodness.
We love dal puris.
I know that. I know that. People here in Mauritius love. When I went to Guyana, Georgetown, even dal puri is very popular there as well.
It's better in Mauritius.
It's better in Mauritius. Wow. I'm going to look forward to eat a few of them during
I
my visit.
haven't tasted the one in Guyana, but I'm a hardcore fan of Mauritius.
Wow. when you eat food and it's made well, the first thing is the taste,
Yes.
satisfaction.
Yeah.
The second is nourishment. It's stronger when you eat. And the third is mitigation. Mitigation of your hunger. One is your tongue is satisfied, your body is stronger, and your stomach is now taken care of in terms of hunger. So similarly, when I talk about that experience of spirituality, three things must happen. Number one, you should feel satisfied in life. Satisfaction which is not just dependent on achievements, satisfaction which is not just dependent on the stuff that we have in life, but a much deeper sense of fulfillment. Satisfaction. Two, we should feel nourished, stronger inside to face the challenges of life. If I feel stronger and nourished, like if I eat food, I'm stronger, I'm immune to many diseases in the world. Similarly, if I'm internally nourished by that experience, I'm immune to a lot of challenges that would have otherwise affected me a lot. And the third part of that experience then is mitigation of hunger. I no longer have hunger for power. I no longer have, not meaning as in I mean I as in we, that if we experience that spirituality, I think we will not have that hunger for or craving for power, position, control. We can use power. We can be in positions of power, we can have control, we can have assets and resources, but we will all use it for the right cause. But today we just find people craving for it. And that's where political, conspiring agendas come into picture, pulling others down because my craving for power is on.
It's a war of power.
It's a war of power. It's a journey. Every little bit adds to where you're reaching. This philosophy, this ideology, this wisdom that I have received from my mentors, my gurus, my teachers, my acharyas, the saints, I have to now give it to the world, at least if not give, assist them in giving it to the world. And then when I tried doing it, you know what? Truth is very bitter. Okay. It's like swallowing the bitter pill.
Okay.
So this is when I decided I have to kind of sugarcoat the pill.
Bittersweet then.
Yeah. This is where I started including humor in my talks, which is when the truth is not easily handleable by people straight. It's intimidating to say the truth straight.
It's a sweet and sour talk.
Yeah. Right. So then I decided, let me sugarcoat it. Humor is like, they say minds are like parachutes.
You have to open it.
They function only when they're open. Yeah. So when you have humor, mind's open, and slowly the message starts sinking in. I call it enterlightenment, which is a combination of entertainment and enlightenment. Enterlightenment.
All right.
So if you have entertainment, it could get very frivolous sometimes. If you have enlightenment, it could be very grave. When you have a combination of entertainment and enlightenment, that's enterlightenment.
All right. I have so many more questions to ask you, sure, especially more on enlightenment.
Sure.
And also on satisfaction. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of this first part, sure, of Encounter. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. Please make sure to catch the second episode with Gaur Gopal Das, and we'll learn more about his life. Thank you very much.